America, let's talk facts for a moment. Those who tell you our economy is in wonderful shape are lying to you every single time, because we're a nation approaching $20 trillion in debt, and $30 trillion is an accident right around the corner waiting to happen. The numbers don't lie. If we don't face some very hard truths right now, there will be no way to escape a disaster. Our guest on this is a noted author, veteran bond trader who understands the guts of the international system, prolific author. His first book is now going into its second edition. Currency is a fictional thriller on international finance spanning 3 centuries, yet it speaks to the honesty of what we face. Always a pleasure to welcome L.Todd Wood back to MidPoint. Todd, how are you today?
Great to be here, Ed. Thanks for having me back on again.
Pleasure. We have to talk about this because in currency, it's all about Russia, China, Iran starting a war that we cannot afford, will sell off our debt en masse, destroy our economy. Wait a minute. Are we talking about your book or are we talking about 2015?
Well, the book is very prescient. You're right, the hardback second edition just came out, but I have people tell me all the time how scary the novel was. You know, if I really wanted to just write a great book that's a thriller that people couldn't put down. I think I've achieved that because people tell me all the time they stay up all night to read it and it should be a movie. But, you know, I was commuting into Wall Street and I had a military background. I saw a lot of military threats that the country faces, but we would have countries come to us and say, look, we want to raise some debt on the market. Can you help us? And we would go to the street or to try to sell it and there would be no buyers, or buyers at an interest rate that they couldn't afford. So I began to realize there's other weapons countries can use, like economics, and that's why I wrote the book.
So let's look then at what is happening right now. I mentioned we're near 20 trillion in debt. 30 trillion, it's going to come a lot faster. What is it that we can do, though, Todd, that will stop this or at least slow it down to keep us from worrying about the collapse of the dollar and then, let's face it, the collapse of the United States?
Well, I get that question all the time. What can I do? And you know, there's the old saying, if you're in a hole and you want to get out, stop digging. So I think the first thing we need to do is stop spending money we don't have. And you know, frankly, that's going to take another administration to do that because this administration is obviously not committed to that goal. Second is we need to grow our way out of this and really, you know, jumpstart the American economy because it's a deep, resilient, beautiful economy, the most strongest in the world if we'll let it grow by itself. And right now, the government is in the way. You know, people, if they want to start a business, they don't know what their taxes are going to be. They don't know what their health care costs are going to be. They don't know what their energy costs are going to be. Why would you go out and build a new plant? And that's what's holding back employment in our economy right now. And if we can have more economic transactions that create more tax revenue, then we can grow our way out of this.
Todd, is that one of the things that we need to do? Sit down, look ourselves in the mirror as a nation and basically admit, from government on down to somebody just making $1.95, that we are at an economic war stage at this point, that what you proposed in the book is happening right now, and if we don't admit it and at least try to fight that war, then we are, and I hate to be dark here, but doomed.
Well, right now we're paying an artificially low interest rate of basically nothing, and the Fed has been involved to keep our rates short and long term very low from where they should be normally. And if we even get a 1 or 2 or 3% interest rate rise in our long-term debt, that's hundreds of billions of dollars that we don't have the money to pay at this point. So yes, we've given our enemies an economic weapon. And you know, unfortunately, Machiavelli said it's better to be feared than loved. And right now, with our cuts in military spending, I'm afraid the United States is not feared or loved around the world. And that's why you're seeing Russia, as you mentioned, active in Ukraine, China in the South China Sea, Iran. You know, this deal that's coming is a result, really, of, I think, our weakness.
Do you get the feeling that Russia and China might sit back in a quiet moment, those governments there, and say, United States, we got them. Just relax. It'll all come to us.
Well, they've already started doing that. You know, Putin has shifted east toward China, and they've already started putting in place swap lines to do business without the dollar, we discussed before on this program. So it's already happening around the world. And my fear, you know, is for my children and grandchildren, and what kind of world will they live in. So that's one reason I wrote the book, is really just to give people a great story, but also to make people think. And that's the goal of the book.
We got to be feared again, right?
Exactly. You know, you look at why is Russia active on the NATO border in Eastern Europe? Why are they pushing and basically taking a bite after bite of former Soviet territories? Because they're not really concerned about the response of the United States or NATO, our allies. It's funny, since Ukraine as this crisis has been going on, NATO has actually reduced their defense spending as part of their GDP in Europe. So it's a problem, Ed.
The book is coming true, unfortunately. Reminder everybody that it is a book based on fiction, but not really. It's based on fact, to be honest. Fictional, but based on fact. Currency is the book. You can go to LToddWood.com. Pick up your copy of the book. We highly recommend it. Todd, always a pleasure, my friend. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much, Ed. Take care.
Take care. Syndicated talker Jerry Doyle joins us next on MidPoint.